people's cars are not being vandalized with it.
This is Chaz Bono here, and we got some public vandalism going on. Let's take a closer look, shall we? What are people thinking these days? As you can see right here, the criminals drew expansionary fiscal policy graph. Now, expansionary fiscal policy happens when there's a recession going on in the government. Okay? The government can take two steps. Actually more, three speaking actually. They can either increase spending, decrease taxes, or do a combination of both. Whichever one they choose, there will be a rightward shift in the aggregate demand curve, as you can see right here. Now, as you can see right over here, we have contractionary fiscal
Whoa. Who did this to my car? Who?
I didn't do this. I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
You didn't do it. Calm down. Who wrote contradiction?
Contractionary. Contractionary.
That's what I said. Contradiction.
No. Where do you see the D here? Where do you see the D?
Okay, there might not be a D.
It's still contractionary. Exactly.
Okay, contractionary. Got it. Okay. So, like, what even is this?
Well, contractionary fiscal policy is what the three choices the government uses to battle inflation.
What part of the government?
The Senate.
Senate, okay.
Yes. Okay, one of the choices is decreasing government spending. The second choice would be increasing taxes, and the third choice, like expansionary, a combination of the two. Now, whichever choice the government picks would lead to a decrease in aggregate demand, as you can see right here. Now you understand?
More or less, that's it. Okay. Wait, you're not going to clean this off?
Me? Yeah, right. It's your own problem, bro.
You joking?
I am. Back to you guys.
Oh, you will.
It is now time to speak with known economist, Professor Barney P. Gark, about what fiscal policy really is.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, Professor, there's been talk about this fiscal policy thing, but what really is it?
Great question, Justin. You see, first we need to know what GDP is, which is equal to consumption plus investment plus government spending plus net exports. As you can see, fiscal policy is when the government adjusts its spending and tax rates to achieve a goal in the economy. This could include sustained growth, low unemployment rate, and stable prices.
So, Professor, how does the government know when to adjust taxes and spending?
So let me start off by asking you a question. When a nation is in a recession, what does that mean?
That is when household spending, country's GDP, employment, everything's down. It's just bad times.
Right. So the best way the government can deal with this problem is to either increase spending or decrease taxes. Or they can do a combination of them both.
So what does increasing government spending do?
So if the government would increase spending on, let's say, infrastructure and highways, then it would open the door to more jobs.
But wouldn't that only create jobs for people in the intended field?
Actually, what would happen is when these workers get their paychecks, it would encourage them to go out and buy goods and services. So the producers of these goods and services will then expand output, and this would create more jobs.
Okay, that makes sense, but what about taxes?
Let's say that the government decreases personal income taxes, which will lead to an increase in disposable income. Consumption will then rise, leading to a rightward shift in the aggregate demand curve.
So I take it then they can combine the two to tailor-fit a solution for the intended problem.
But be careful, because if government spending exceeds tax revenues, then there will be a budget deficit.
Now what would you do if the country is facing inflation?
Right, so inflation is when there is an overall increase in price levels. So it would cost more money for someone to obtain the same product this year than it would last year. This is a big problem because incomes do not increase as fast as price levels do. So purchasing power greatly decreases.
To apply what we've learned, when the government decreases their spending, then the aggregate demand for the products decreases, so then the cost of the product would decrease.
Right, and what about taxes, Justin?
Or they could increase taxes, which would lower the amount of spending by households and companies.
A budget surplus can also occur when tax revenues exceed government expenditures.
Well, I know I've learned a lot. Thank you for your time, Professor Barney.
Frank,
Our children are now talking about when they're hanging out with each other.
But Joy, did you hear about Detroit?
I did.
Okay, so like it's obvious you want to do expansionary fiscal policy, but like what would you do? Would you raise taxes or would you lower taxes or would you raise spending? I mean, those are your really only two options.
I would increase spending.
I mean, obviously you have to do fiscal, like monetary is just not going to help them that much.
Yeah,
So you'd increase government spending?
I would increase government spending.
Would
but
you-
I would keep taxes the same.
But you have to be careful, like when you increase government spending, like you want people still to, you don't want to hurt the private sector. You don't want GM to become government motors instead of General Motors. You know what I mean? So like, would you try to keep like spending still somewhat low, or like would you like also kind of like want to lower taxes to help all these people?
I could do a combination of both.
You do a
I see-
combination,
I see-
like-
yeah, I could see where you're maybe.
Like,
Yeah, maybe a decrease taxes by a little bit, but also increase government spending
Yeah.
by a little bit more, just to keep it in balance.
just keep it in balance.
I think that would work.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that would be pretty effective.
yeah, I think it would get the job done.
Now, this new trend is even worse than Miley Cyrus's last single. I want to take this minute to dedicate how good Bejoy is at swinging. Thank you.